This news update is brought to you by
AgroFest 2014, encouraging entrepreneurship through innovative agriculture. Box offices, the Barbados Agricultural Society, Cave Shepherd, Broad Street, all Supercenter stores, the Costa Manning stores, Fontabelle, Warren, Spearhead and Sheraton. Clear Vision Optical, 11 Pine Road, Belleville in St. Michael. Roberts Manufacturing Feed Store, Laura Estate in St. George. Waterworld Pet Shop, Jordan's Complex, Speightstown in St. Peter. Barbados' biggest exhibition and getting bigger. Be there.
This is the Noon Barbados Today update for Friday, February 21st, 2014. I'm Dawn Paris. Prime Minister Freundel Stuart is getting some unsolicited advice from another regional leader. Take over the Ministry of Finance. Although he didn't call Stuart by name, Dominica's Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerritt says Caribbean leaders must take charge of the economic reins and specifically the responsibility for the vital finance portfolio.
In small countries like ours, if the Prime Minister is not responsible for the purse of the country and for the economic management of the country, that country will have problems. The Prime Minister must and should be the Minister of Finance of the small countries. I can tell Reggie and these guys, I'm not giving the Ministry of Finance to no minister. That when I'm out of the country, they will act. When I come back, I will take over the Ministry of Finance. And we've seen in our history, when the Prime Minister is not the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Finance will mash up the country.
Skerritt was speaking yesterday during a graduation ceremony for hospitality students. At the time, he also made reference to the government's public sector retrenchment program. Meantime, a political scientist says those job cuts are part of a numbers game the Freundel Stuart administration is using to appease the International Monetary Fund. Professor Neville Duncan says the decision to send home so many workers is simply a case of finding enough people not to pay, so expenditure can be reduced. And he says that's the big failing in the IMF advice.
Basically, they think that just merely cutting back in public expenditure will be sufficient to stimulate growth and make the Barbados economy more attractive for domestic and foreign investors. Of course, that is clearly not being the case in Barbados. I think even their advised policy doesn't have particular merit in terms of the structural deficiencies which now exist in the Barbadian economy. So there's no obvious and particular benefit that's coming from Barbados for the sacrifices that the people are being asked to make.
Barbadians traveling to the United States can expect more security pat-downs. They'll also be subjected to the increased use of explosive detection swabs on their shoes. Those are among the measures provided for in a bulletin issued by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. The bulletin does not identify any specific airline, but indicated that flights from outside of the U.S. were potentially at risk and not domestic air service within America. With bullying among children in schools now a national problem, efforts are being made to turn the situation around. Dr. Kenneth Williams is collaborating with the Ministry of Education to help parents and teachers deal with the situation. Speaking to Barbados Today during the St. Paul's Primary Schools Parent Teachers Association meeting last night, Williams, who holds a doctorate in management and education, says parents must take some of the blame for the antics and attitudes of their children.
And we recognize that some parents do not have the skills. We have some parents who are turning up to PTAs, being involved in their children's life, some parents who are constantly giving. But we have a lot of parents who are not doing what they should do. So that is part of the problem. What we are trying to do, if you're trying to outreach the parents, so to help parents recognize that we have to work together.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Hi, I'm Red Plastic Bag. Anyone who knows me knows I don't like cold. Sunshine reigns in my country. I love it.
Get your sun power.
The Registrar of the Barbados-based Caribbean Examinations Council will be the new Director General of the OECS. Dr. Didicus Jules will take up his new position on May 1st. He replaces Dr. Len Ishmael, who demitted office at the end of December last year. Hopes of a deal to end bloody protests in the Ukraine following all-night talks. President Viktor Yanukovych and opposition protesters have agreed to an early presidential poll before the end of the year. And in other news, a Libyan military plane carrying doctors and patients has crashed in Tunisia, killing all 11 people on board. The Libyan Air Force said an engine had caught fire. And that's been the noon update. Join us again at 6 this evening. Until then, log on to www.barbadostoday.bb, subscribe to our e-paper and like us on Facebook to get more news and sports. I'm Dawn Paris.
This news update is brought to you by...
Hi, I'm Red Plastic Bag. Anyone who knows me knows I don't like cold. Sunshine reigns in my country. I love it.
Yes, your sun power.